Today we will be going over what, in my opinion, are the absolute highest tier, strongest, and most overpowered gear items on Roblox. Now, before I begin, I want to note that this is my opinion, and I cannot stress that enough. So if you have an item that you feel should be on this list, or an item that you think is really strong, go ahead and post in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Anyway, I also want to note that there are a ton of other really good weapons like the Epic Katana or Crescendo the Soul Stealer, for instance. However, I do not feel that they are strong enough and overpowered enough to be on this list. This is strictly my opinion, so there may be some weapons that you love that you will not see on this list. So, let's begin, shall we? For number 10, we have the Groundhog. And I had these all in my backpack, so it will be an absolute mystery. Anyway, we have the Groundhog. So you're probably thinking, what is this? And that was my first opinion when I saw this thing in the catalog too. Now this thing currently is off sale, so you cannot buy it. It has over 3,000 sales, and if I remember correctly, it was originally like 350 Robux. Anyway, this funky little creature is actually absurdly overpowered. So, if you look, we will use it over here. If you click, it shoots out a little gopher guy, right? Now let's wait for it to reload. And how about we go ahead and click right here? So you're probably wondering, what is so good about this thing? It doesn't seem to be doing anything. Well, let's find something that is not thin, because his base plate's thinness is obscuring what it actually does. So let's go ahead and shoot it over here. No, you see this thing, right? And you're probably wondering, what is that? Let's shoot another one over here. And this actually acts as a portal gun. So if I stepped in this hole over here, it would take me to the other one. So again, you're probably wondering, how is this overpowered? Now I'm going to tell you. This gear item is currently one of the strongest and most broken items I've ever seen. And I am not going to step into this hole for one reason. Instead of teleporting you to the other hole, this item is completely broken. It will end up killing you. And it won't just kill you, no. It will teleport you between holes and eventually get you in an endless loop that can last up to a minute. So I am not going to step into this and demonstrate it, because I could be here for up to a minute just doing nothing. And trust me, this item gets really annoying. It is best used, I found, if you find someone's spawn location on like a War Tycoon game, and you just surround their spawn with groundhogger holes. Because as soon as they spawn, they are going to get spawn killed, essentially. Because this thing will just demolish you. And it's best to use it around a block or around a spawn location. Because after they die, they will get about a second of invincibility that somehow blocks out the groundhogger. Well, they will not die. So it's best to surround an object with these things. But yes, this little guy is just so broken. And the reason I'm not putting this higher on the list is because it is currently glitched. It's supposed to act as a portal system, but it's currently broken. So at any point this can get fixed, but I do not see that happening anytime soon. So in the meantime, stepping in this hole will essentially spawn kill you. Anyway, if we go on to the next one, number 9, go into our search bar, we have, drum roll please, this is Ruby Horde's chest, and this is currently another off sale item. You cannot buy it, and this came with the Ruby Horde package, which I believe was like 350 Robux, but it was also previously available as a game card item. So you had to, in order to get this, you had to pay $40 and get one of those GameStop $40 cards. This is another item I can't really demonstrate, but if we click, you'll see it drops all these coins from the sky. And that's not all it does. Any player near you, when you use this thing, will get their entire hotbar. So that means the 10 items that go down here, they'll get their entire hotbar and a bunch of other gear items from their inventory sucked up, and they will all go towards you. So you will be able to use all of their items that they had in their hotbar, essentially. And this is really overpowered, especially if you're getting attacked. Because there's some guys coming over there with a sword attacking me, pull out this thing, use it, and I can fight back with the sword. So that's why this thing is so overpowered, because it's the only plausible, actually good gear stealing item. Anyone attacking you, like say they have an extremely overpowered weapon, just pull out this thing and they're done for. So that makes my number 9, Ruby Horde's chest. And at number 8, we have this item. This is the Staff of Neverending Frost. Now this is currently not off sale, and it is a ranged weapon. It goes for about 9, I'd say about, it depends. Right now it's currently going for about 2,000 Robux, but at maximum it goes for about 4,000. So it is a limited item, and that's pretty cheap for what it does. And when I don't really gear fight anymore, but when I used to, this thing was top tier. And even though it's an older gear item, it still stands out as one of the best. So if you go ahead and click on one of these dummies, it shoots out a frost bullet. As you can see, that deals about half their health. And if you aim for their head, it normally will just instantly kill them. In that instance, it didn't. But this will normally do, on average, about half of an enemy's health. But as you can see right here, sometimes that will only do a small amount of health. But this thing fires pretty fast. And the reason why it's so overpowered is because of its effect. As you can see, these guys are frozen. And what this does is it makes them unable to move, and this gear is actually special, because there are other gear items that will freeze you. But this one, if you're frozen by this, your entire backpack is actually disabled. So you will not be able to pull out a sword or pull out something that lets you fly away. You will be completely vulnerable. And if I freeze this guy over there, they're not going to be able to fight back compared to some of the freeze items. Even though you're frozen, you could still pull out like a ranged weapon and shoot you. With this item, you can't do that. If that guy's frozen, come over here, pull out the sword, dead. Can't do anything about it. And the thing that makes this even more overpowered is it actually has a special move. And if you press Q on your keyboard, this does not work on Xbox and does not work on mobile. You have to be on a computer. So if you press Q on your keyboard, it shoots out bullets all around you in a circular direction. So we'll demonstrate this now. As you can see, look how many enemies got frozen. So that's my number 8. The Staff of Neverending Frost. A fairly cheap weapon, so if you have a few Robux to spare, you can it's only about 3,000, so hey, pretty good deal. And at number 7, we have one of the more expensive weapons on this list. If we go in here, we have the Land Shark Launcher or Land Shark Shooter, whichever you prefer. So this thing right here, this beautiful thing, goes for about 10,000 to 12,000 Robux, but at minimum about 8,000, so it is pretty pricey. And it is pretty worth it, honestly. So this has a very high reload time, so you will not be shooting this often. But when shot, it shoots out a shark that essentially homes into the enemy and instantly kills them. So if you go ahead and shoot this dummy over here, as you can see, that shark shot out. Now these are not actually players, so it is not going to do the homing effect. So it's going to be much harder to kill these. But trust me, if you're fighting a player, this thing will just demolish them. So we can go over here, and these things right here will show if they've been hit. They'll turn red. So if you go over here and shoot this thing, as you can see, it's all red. And as you can see, the shark bounced around. So this thing will just kill anything it comes in contact with. And it can normally kill more than one player at once. So this item is pretty overpowered. See, there it goes. But once again, this item goes for about 10,000 Robux. In my opinion, it is not worth the price. There are some weapons on this list that are a lot more worth it. But that does not mean it is weak. So that makes my number 7 the Land Shark Launcher. Pretty good weapon. So then if we go over here, at number 6 we have Zeus's Lightning Staff. Now this is one of the more well-known overpowered weapons. It is very well known in the gear community. Now this thing is probably going to be the priciest weapon on this list. It goes from 20,000 to about 30,000 Robux. Right now it is sitting at 25,000. Now what this does is by clicking, it does one of 2 attacks, and it has a very low reload time. The first attack is going to shoot out high damaging lightning bolts all around me. The second one, which occurs less often, is going to form a shield of lightning around me that essentially will instantly kill any player who comes in contact with it. So we'll go ahead and use it on this dummy. As you can see, shot out lightning and killed so many enemies. So this is not a weapon to mess with. There's the shield. Any enemy who touches this is going to instantly die. Now, this weapon also has a special ability, which is also activated with the Q key, just like the Staff of Neverending Frost. By pressing Q, it will zap lightning on any enemy within a wide radius of you. So I'd say it'll zap any enemy around this section over here, if you look at my cursor. So that is a huge circular pattern where any enemy essentially trapped in this range will get instantly killed. So if I stand right in here, if these were all players, they would basically all get zapped. And this does, I think, 80 damage, 80 to 85 damage. So that's pretty strong. If you don't know, a normal player has 100 health. So if we go ahead and use a special ability, as you can see, nothing happened because these are not real players. But you have to believe me, if you press Q while you're using this weapon and there is a player near you, they will get zapped. Any player hit by the special ability will also fall down and be able to not move for, I'd say, about 2-3 seconds. So that is a very strong weapon. But this weapon is also used in succession with another weapon, which I am not going to put on this list because I do not feel as though it's strong enough. But it is still worth noting, and that is the Sorcus's Sword of Judgment. Now this sword is a pretty average sword, it's okay, but its special ability it's either activated with Q or X, but it does a taunt slicing motion that will instantly turn everyone on the server's health, that's right, everyone on the server's health, to 75. Even if they have like some kind of hack activated or some kind of potion that makes your health 200, it will instantly set it to 75. Now, if used with this weapon's special ability, because this does about 80 damage, it will instantly kill any enemy near you. And it does not require aiming. The special ability is pretty cheesy and easy to hit. Any player near you is hit by it. So comboed with the Sorcus's Sword special ability, you're going to be instantly murdering any player near you. And that is a fact. So anyway, if we go into the number 5 spot, we have the, drumroll, Tri-Laser 333. Now this is one of the more cheaper weapons, and I honestly do not understand why it goes so cheap. Right now it's about 2,000 Robux, but it normally averages around 3,000 Robux. Now, this is a basically upgraded version of the red Hyper Laser and Hyper Laser. And the blue Hyper Laser, which is a normal one, is currently limited and it goes to around 700 Robux, while the red one is currently not limited, is on sale, and I think it's about 600. And those both shoot an instantly killing laser that literally deletes your character. So any character, no matter if they have like a force field or hacks enabled, will be instantly deleted. It does not kill you, it literally deletes your character. It also will delete any humanoid. So for instance, if you have a block near you that you know has a humanoid in you, which is essentially a health bar, it will instantly kill it. And this will essentially break Tycoons, because Tycoons, the buttons that you see in Tycoon games, all have humanoids in them most of the time. So if you're on a game that allows weapons, and this is a ranged weapon, and shoot it at a Tycoon button, it will essentially break the Tycoon. And that Tycoon button will be deleted. Now, this weapon right here is essentially, as I said, an upgraded version of those two weapons, the Hyper Laser and the Red Hyper Laser. This shoots out 3 lasers, while the other ones shoot out 1. So this is essentially a lot better of a weapon. So if you go over here, I'm going to only try to hit 1 of these guys because I do not know if they will respawn. So we go over here and try to shoot this guy. And it apparently does not work on dummies. Let me try again. Yep. Oh, those guys. Yep, well that is a back draw. I did not know that would happen. This apparently does not work on non-player characters. But trust me, that if you're shooting this at a player, it will instantly delete their character. The only reason I'm not putting this higher on the list is because it is pretty predictable and easy to dodge. Especially if someone's just using the regular Hyper Laser or Red Hyper Laser. So it's just 1 bullet, easy to dodge. This thing's still pretty predictable and dodgeable. So that's why it's not higher on the list. But it is still a good weapon nonetheless, and a fairly cheap one. Very good pick for any person looking to have a strong gear. Now the next one we have here is going to be the Knights of the Splintering Skies Wind Horn. Now this thing is another fairly well-known weapon. It goes for about 25,000, 20,000 Robux, which I believe is an insanely high price. My judgment is to not buy this unless you have a lot of Robux, because it is definitely not worth it for the price. However, it still takes my number 4 spot as being insanely overpowered. Now this thing is a fairly high reload time. It takes about, I'd say, 15 seconds to reload, 20 seconds. So it is not going to be something you're going to want to miss. But while using this, it will essentially shoot out a huge line from about here to here of cylinders, which are supposed to be tornadoes. And these cylinders are huge, and they will instantly kill anything that touches it, essentially. Any enemy that touches it will be instantly killed. And the best part is, it will also force field kill, and kill essentially anyone that touches it, no matter the circumstances. This weapon will also break off people's hats and break people's body parts. Because of that, as I said, it will instantly kill anyone, no matter the circumstances, because it has a chance to break off a user's torso. And if you don't know, Robloxians can survive without arms and legs, but not torsos. Now this weapon also is pretty destructive and funny, because it will pick up and destroy any unanchored blocks. So for instance, if there was a wall here that was not anchored and was basically movable, this thing would just pick it up, swirl it around, and launch it all over the map. So it's pretty funny. But I will demonstrate. As you can see, they're the cylinders. And these guys, the dummies, are just going to get destroyed. As you can see, yeah, they're not having fun. And here's an example of how it rips off body parts. This guy's arm was ripped off. And that takes my number 4 spot. The only reason why it's not higher is because it is very easily dodgeable. If you see someone with this horn about to fire it up, you're going to have an easy time dodging it, essentially. It also does not go that far. But for what it does, if you can hit someone with this, it is amazing. And that takes my number 4 spot, the Knights of the Splintering Skyhorn. Now for number 3, we have the Row Vacuum 2012. This thing is absurdly overpowered. If I remember correctly, it is an all-genre melee weapon. So this is a melee weapon. Now if you click, it shoots out these little gray blocks and essentially sucks in enemies. Now this is a fairly cheap weapon. It goes for about 4,000 to 5,000 Robux. So it's fairly cheap, but it's absurdly overpowered for its price. This, just like the Splintering Skyhorn or the Tri-Laser, will instantly kill any player that comes in contact with it. That's because it will instantly basically suck in a player's body parts. So if someone gets right in the middle of this, the torso is essentially going to get sucked in and they're going to die. Now, if you don't manage to kill a player and say they're off to the side, this can also rip off other body parts such as a user's arms, and it can also take off and pull off, rip off a user's hats. So if I got hit by this and somehow managed to not die, I'd probably be losing all of my hats. The best part is it can also steal someone's gear items. So if someone has a really powerful sword out, if they don't manage to die, chances are you could end up stealing their gear item. So let's go ahead and test it on this dummy here. As you can see, it sucked up their arms, but I guess this is another instance of an item that... Okay, never mind. I was going to say this is another instance of an item that can't kill non-player characters, but there we go. So as you can see, they're all dead. Yep. All dead. Now this definitely works better on people who are moving. So if you're standing still, it's going to take a second or two longer to kill a person, but they're still going to die. So chances are if you see someone running with this thing, run away as soon as possible, otherwise you're not going to stand a chance, because this thing will just kill you. And that takes my number 3 spot. And the number 2 spot, we have the Scroll of Sevenless. Now most people who know anything about gear and weapons on Roblox definitely saw this thing coming. So this scroll right here, this little beige scroll with SOS on it, is actually interesting because it's a direct reference to mythology, Greek mythology and Thor and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. So we go ahead over here. Not Greek, what am I saying? But still, it is actually a reference to a written thing in a book. It's not something that's actually made up by Roblox. Anyway, this gear item is a all-genre range explosive. And that makes it pretty overpowered for what it actually does. I'm pretty sure, in my opinion, I would add a couple more genres to this thing to make it less addable in certain games, because if there's a game that allows both ranged weapons and explosives, they're not going to have a fun time, essentially. Now this item goes for about 10,000 to 12,000 Robux, so it's on the pricey side, but in my opinion, if you have 10,000 Robux and want to have fun and want to have an overpowered weapon, get this thing. And in my opinion, this is the strongest and most overpowered weapon on Roblox. But you're probably thinking this is only number 2. And that's right. I'll explain that when I get to number 1. But in my opinion, this is the most overpowered weapon on Roblox. Now, you're probably asking me, come on, get on with it. Stop talking. Essentially, this is pretty rapid fire. It has a very low reload time. And what it does is I'll just let it do the talking for itself. I'm not even going to explain. Yeah, and it can also shoot up in the air. The only 2 downsides to this is if you use it close to you, like zoomed in, it will lag your screen. The only other thing is if you use this while walking, it can kill you, but it's still unlikely. But yeah, for 10,000 Robux, I'd say that this is a pretty good deal. Just look at this. Balefire. Pure balefire. Really needs to be nerfed. So in the number 1 spot we have this thing. The Christmas tree present. Actually, let me look up what it's actually called. 1 second. This is actually called the festive tree present. So if you look right here at the festive tree present, this thing came from another package similar to the items explained at the start. This came from the festive tree package, which was only available at GameStop from a $40 card, so this is no longer obtainable. But this is by far the most overpowered weapon in Roblox. So firstly, this is an all-genre social item, so it is not a weapon. Keep that in mind. No, if you click, it will spawn a winter-related item. As you can see, we got a Christmas grappling hook. This will grapple you onto things, see? There we go, Christmas grappling hook. And we could go ahead and use this again. It has unlimited uses and only about a 4-second reload time. Now, the reason why this thing is overpowered speaks for itself. Keep in mind, this is an all-genre social item. And the number one rule of social items on Roblox is that they're fun things that are fun for everyone. You know, like one social item will shoot a necklace onto a player, the next one will make noises. Social item. So if you go in here, like this fluffy unicorn is a social item. See, social item that's not going to damage anyone. It just floats around me and be's adorable. So, this, as I said, spawns in items, and it spawns in winter items. And let me go ahead and give you a complete list of the items it spawns in. The first thing is a frosted Santa plushie, which essentially just makes noises, and it's just a little Santa doll. The next one is the Harbinger of Christmas Creep. And this item goes for about 10,000 Robux. It's pretty rare, so you can get it for free while using this gear. But it's another social item. All it does is make noises. It's essentially a bell, and I do not understand why it's so much Robux. The next item it can spawn in is this grappling hook, which is actually a navigation enhancer, so it's already pretty neat that this thing can spawn in items that you normally wouldn't be able to get, because this is a navigation enhancer, so you normally would not be able to get this on a game that allows social items, especially if it only allows social items. This thing can also spawn in the Christmas jetpack and Santa's sleigh, which both allow you to fly. And Santa's sleigh is especially neat because it will occasionally drop presents, if I remember correctly, which don't really do anything, and on an occasion it will knock a player down. So that's already pretty neat and annoying. But being able to fly on a game that only allows social items is pretty overpowered by itself. But again, you're probably thinking to yourself, what is this guy talking about? I'm going to click off of this video now because this is not an overpowered weapon. Well, this weapon right here, this item, this social item, also spawns in 3 more items. The first one is the nuclear icicle gun. This is a gun that shoots out an icicle that does about 50 to 100 damage per hit, depending on where you hit someone with it. The next items it spawns in is by far the most overpowered. The next item is the Icebreaker. This thing is a pretty high damaging sword that has a special ability by pressing Q. What this does is it shoots out a mist that goes directly in front of you. Any player hit by that mist will instantly freeze and be unable to move, so they'll be frozen. If you even touch a player while they're frozen with the Icebreaker, they will instantly die, no matter what. So if they have a force field, they will die. Infinite health, they'll die. No matter, as long as a person is trapped in that mist and frozen, they will die. The last item it can spawn in is the Icicle sword, or just Icicle. I think it's called the Yeti Icicle. And it's not worth talking about because it's basically just a weaker version of the Icebreaker. So this is essentially a social item that can kill players. So if you're on a game that allows social items and does not allow weapons, you can kill players. And there are only a few weapons on Roblox or social items that can hurt players. And the only most notable is the lump of coal, the sparkle time lump of coal, but it only does about 5 damage per hit. This thing will just murder your opponents. I also forgot, apparently, this thing can also spawn in the Icicle Staff, which does this. It's pretty annoying, actually. But if we go ahead and keep on clicking, there's the Icebreaker. As you can see, it just two-shot those guys. And here's a special move. Yeah, okay. So this thing is a pretty strong weapon, and that's why it takes its place for the most overpowered weapon or gear item on Roblox, in my opinion. This thing is just so overpowered. Just the ability to basically be able to literally spawn kill people with a social item. Because as I said, this is a social item. It is not a weapon. It is a social item. If we went to and look at the Scroll of 7 list again, that is a ranged weapon explosive. Even though in my opinion it is the strongest and most overpowered weapon on Roblox, it does not account for the social item that literally allows you to spawn and kill people. And let me give a perfect example of why this is so overpowered if you give me a second. We are going to go in this game called the Wipeout Hobby, which is a fun, pretty old hobby. And we used to be pretty popular. It's not so popular now, but it is still strong in the popular section. Now this allows social items, right? Sounds pretty neat. Cool? Yeah? Social items. Pretty neat. Go in here, type in present. Take it out. Now we can fly and cheat on this hobby with this jetpack right here if we really wanted to. Even though that one spawned is apparently broken. But there we go. This game does not allow weapons. It is an obstacle course, not a battleground. This allows social items, so you shouldn't be able to kill people on it. And apparently I also forgot this thing right here, the freeze ray, which this can also spawn. I'm pretty sure that's the last thing. This is also pretty overpowered because it freezes an opponent. So go ahead and ruin this poor girl's day and freeze her. Now keep in mind, this game allows social items and we just killed this girl. Now I'll demonstrate the spawn killing factor of this. As you can see, yeah, okay. Pretty overpowered if you ask me. I'm spawn killing people on a social game, an obstacle course that does not allow weapons. Yeah, about that. So anyway, that's going to be it for me. Or as a reminder, this is just my opinion. If you have something you think is a lot stronger, go ahead and post it in the comments section. I'd love to hear for you. But that's all. So once again, shout out to this item, the social item that lets you spawn kill people on games you're not supposed to have weapons. Yeah. And if I didn't state this already, this weapon is not on sale. You cannot buy it. You cannot buy this Christmas present. So anyway, have a nice day.